Ahead of Governor Gina Raimondo's Senate confirmation hearing today, I sat down with one of the senators questioning her for today's Community Focus. Here's part of my conversation with Senator Ed Markey. With her being the governor of Rhode Island and you just across the border in Massachusetts, have you ever met before this, or will this be your first interaction with her?
No, I have met the governor before. I remember meeting her at a fundraiser that Sheldon White House was having, like a fish fry that I was at for Sheldon. So, no, I've been a long time admirer of the governor, and I think that Joe Biden made a great decision in naming her to this post.
Can you give me a sense of timing here? How soon after today's confirmation hearing do you think that this will be referred to the full Senate for a floor vote?
Well, my hope is that we can move this very quickly. I don't expect there to be a lot of controversy around the governor's nomination. And so my hope is that we could get it done. And I'm going to be trying to expedite the process so that we can complete it before we begin the impeachment trial of Donald Trump. So
that would be before February 8th?
That's correct. I think that we have time to have this hearing, to process Governor Raimondo's confirmation, and then to make sure that it is voted on before the Senate begins that impeachment trial, which would otherwise slow down other legislative activity.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question for you. Do you think that there would be any overlap on or any impact from the impeachment trial on the governor's confirmation hearing? It sounds like no.
Well, my hope is that we can do both. I don't know why we couldn't do both. I don't think that there's a lot of controversy. I think that she is going to be a consensus pick to do a very good job at the Department of Commerce. And so from my perspective, I think that we should be able to process her through very quickly so that she can get on the job and get to the business of serving the people of the United States.
I know you mentioned some of the questions that you had for her, Massachusetts-centric, about the fisheries and local industry. What do you think it will mean to have a New Englander in the White House cabinet?
Well, I think it's going to be great for us. We have a great leader as governor of Rhode Island who understands our economy, understands what we're all about, understands the fishing industry, the offshore wind industry, understands the need to have a kind of a forward-looking economic agenda for our country. That's what she's always been providing for Rhode Island. So I'm very, very enthusiastic about her taking this job.
I wanted to pivot just for a second and ask you a couple of questions outside of the topic of Governor Raimondo. You are calling for $2,000 checks for every American every month of the pandemic and for 3 months after it's over. How much would that cost, Senator?
Well, it would cost more not to provide that kind of help. We are in dire economic circumstances right now. Families are in dire economic circumstances. Republicans are raising objections to providing these checks, but they didn't raise any objections to a couple of $1 trillion tax break for the wealthiest Americans. They don't raise objections to a bloated defense budget, but when it comes to ordinary families having money in their pockets so that they can take care of their families, all of a sudden they become born-again, deficit hawks. But from my perspective, we have to do everything we can to ensure that families get the help they need until this pandemic is in our rearview mirror. And it looks like it's going to take a while before we get everyone vaccinated.
Senator Ed Markey, thank you so much for taking the time.
No, glad to be with you. Thank you.
And you can see more of my interview with Senator Markey right now on WPRI.com, where we also talk about Massachusetts vaccine rollout and death threats that were made against his Senate colleague, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.